Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Lorna's story. Now, we're picking up right where we left off, basically right after you've visited the temple and you are heading towards the Shona Civic College.
Yes.
Now, that is a little bit of a ways away from the Temple of Wonder, so let's go ahead and pull up the map.
Yep.
Okay, so the Shona Civic College is actually outside the proper walls of Shona. It is, if you're looking at the map, it's this section here, this like compound area in Light Hook.
I see.
So, before anything else, I need you to go ahead and roll me a d8.
Okay. 6.
6. Okay. Now roll me a d100.
95.
95. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay. As you are walking down the street, you hear okay. So you hear a town crier calling out, like, the various news that is going on in the town. As you hear it, whether you're paying attention to it or not, you hear a couple words that kind of catch your ear, basically. Do you stop and listen when you hear...
Yeah, why not? I'm not...
Okay.
This is critical.
Okay. Then I will say the whole headline instead of just the words that catch you. You hear, hear ye, by decree of the Shona Civic Council, the practice of bite hunting is hereby forbidden within the city walls and greater outlying villages.
Bite hunting?
Bite hunting, yes. Those caught soliciting, harboring, or trafficking infected persons shall be fined no less than 20 gold and subject to the public stockade.
Bite hunting? She calls out after this crier.
The crier, turns and looks at you. It's on the news sheets if you'd like to read about it.
Does he have one?
He has a whole stack of them. He's
Yes,
trying to
yeah,
sell
she'll
them.
take one. She also wants to see if Alexios is in the news sheets.
Okay.
Just trying to prove that he robbed the Goldenrod Vault. She'll
go ahead.
Take a sheet.
Okay.
He did his job.
It's 2 copper.
Okay. I'm broke now.
Okay. Please roll me an investigation.
Okay. $22.
Okay. It's called the Shona Herald. You see, bite hunting ban passed by Civic Council. Following a heated debate at the Shona Civic Council, new legislation has outlawed the practice known as bite hunting, the deliberate seeking out of transformative lycanthropic infection. Once a whisper among the city's underbelly, the trend has spread alarmingly into certain mercenary circles and thrill seekers in the North Chaoten villages. Reports estimate up to 36 confirmed hunters this season alone, with more suspected. At least 5 known bite brokers have been driven out of the Chaoten quarter in recent weeks.
People are deliberately seeking to be infected with lycanthropy.
Hold on. House Skirino's representative on the council, Sarah Skirino, spoke plainly. Lycanthropy is not a gift. It is a dangerous curse. Our healers are strained enough as it is.
Stop it.
To seek it out willingly is madness. Fines for violating the ban start at 20 gold marks, and repeat offenders may face the stockades or banishment during full moons.
Repeat offenders? You only need to be bitten once.
In
Or are they
related
just
reports, the Civic Guard asks citizens to report any known or suspected bite brokers still operating in the North Tunnels or outlying farmsteads.
if you get bitten and infected once, you don't need to repeatedly offend. You'd have the curse.
Yeah, well, you can't. There are ways to remove the curse if you're bitten, if
Sure,
it's
but
within
why
a
are they
certain amount of
going
time.
getting bitten, getting resolved, and then trying to get bitten again? What?
Who?
Lorna looks just baffled, completely baffled at this.
You see that there's another, like, local rumor has it that well-to-do heirs, bored apprentices, and even a handful of edgy poets have joined the bite hunting craze, claiming they want the raw edge and untamable strength it brings.
This is what TikTok does to the
This
youth.
is literally, yes. The Civic Council sees only tragedy and ruin. One Northside stable was ravaged last week when a new blood couldn't control their first moon.
Oh, I bet they were doing a silly dance at the same time.
Like reading over your shoulder, Tyr says, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Who wants to be a lycanthrope? On purpose."
Stupid people. Stupid people who don't understand the significance of the curse and what it can do to you.
Imagine being so bored that you just go try to find a werewolf to bite you so you can have more excitement in your life.
It's madness. She's gonna surreptitiously flip to
You,
see if Alexios is in this paper.
you see,
Or
like,
a description or a portrait or like a likeness.
Okay, so as you're looking, you do see, like, the next page says, in big, broad, bold letters, the Civic Guard reminds all citizens, if you or a loved one has been infected against your will, seek help at once at the Temple of Wonder, or the Temple of Dawn, or the Warden's Hall. Do not suffer the beast alone.
Aw, that's nice. If you were a loved one,
Yes.
you may be entitled to legal counsel.
Yeah, basically, it's like, seek help. Please don't be a werewolf if you don't want to be. Okay, you're looking for more notes about the robbery and the bounty for someone that you suspect to
There's
be
like
Alexios.
an artistic rendition.
Hold on. Roll me a D100.
Okay. 51.
Let's see here. Okay, 51. Okay, so as you
Oh no, he's giggling.
with a 51, yeah, on the same news sheet you see on the second page, daring vault heist. Civic Guard offers record bounty. Earlier this week, a bold and unprecedented robbery took place at the Simmering Vaults, the largest secured treasury in Shona, renowned for holding merchant and noble deposits alike. According to Civic Guard reports, the perpetrator or the perpetrator or perpetrators bypassed multiple arcane wards and mundane locks to steal an estimated 270,000 gold marks in mixed coin and promissory notes. Captain Harold has declared, whoever did this is no common sneak thief. We suspect powerful illusion or conjuration magic was involved. Anyone found harboring the culprit will be treated as an accomplice. A bounty of 50,000 gold marks has been posted for information leading to the robber's
50?
capture. Yes. It
That's
seems as though
way
the
more
bounty
than-
has increased.
Oh, Lorna's like, I
Informants
don't even
may
need
present
him.
themselves in confidence at the Civic Guard's main barracks.
Lorna's like, I don't even need Alexios' body. I could just be like, yeah, it's this guy. Like, I know where he is. Well, he lives in the fire plane. Good luck with that, but okay, she's like, well, I'll talk to him first. Is there any artistic depiction of
No.
Damn. She tucks the news sheet away into her bag of holding.
Okay.
50,000.
It is 5,000. I misread it. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
5,000 gold marks has been posted for information leading to the
That's
robber's
less
capture.
than what Marigold told me.
What do you want from me? It's just information. It's not the actual capture.
I want a number. Oh, that's true.
5,000 gold for information leading to the robber's capture.
Does it have the for turning in?
It's at the
Or do
warden's
they just
hall.
know like what they would pay you if you had the guy?
It doesn't say that. It's not
I
that
guess
big a
they would
notice.
assume they wouldn't assume that someone would be able to bring him in, but Lorna will. Lorna's gonna.
Okay.
Here's his corpse. Give me money. Okay. Anyways,
You see
on to
there's
the
like
civic college.
a note before you do. There was like a gilded quill, a scandal snippet next to that note that says, "The whole city's buzzing with guesses about who's bold enough to slip into the simmering vaults. Some say it's the copper mask testing the guards' blind spots. Others whisper it's an inside job. Until then, keep your coin close and your doors locked."
Dun dun dun.
That's what it says, and then you see there's a little byline by Tressa Quillfeather, civic columnist.
Aw, Lorna giggles at the whole article because it's very amusing to her.
Okay.
Teehee.
And you rolled what I prepared for the news sheet. So
Great.
that is apparently the news, is people getting intentionally bitten and money being offered for.
Money being, yeah.
Okay, so that's what you rolled. And you continue onward towards the Shona Civic College. As you're pressing on, it's getting later in the afternoon. Now that being said, it is not as dark as this image makes it look, but this is what I have.
It's pretty.
It is a quieter section. The Light Hook district is not nearly as densely like busy with people. But that being said, there are individuals that are like milling about between the various buildings. You see that a lot of the buildings have different labels as to what they are. You're like kind of overwhelmed at first by the number of small structures that are separating out through the Shona Civic College.
Is there like a campus map that I can look at?
No, there is not.
Well, they should have one.
I'm sure you can make that comment. As you're looking around, you do see that there are a number of guards that look like they're pretty lazy. This is a pretty quiet section of town. And they're generally they're either like seated on stools on corners, or they're like their helmets off and they're relaxing. Like, it's clear that they'll respond to a problem.
Yeah, she'll bug one of them for directions. That's what guards are good for.
Okay.
Directions.
Yeah, you go up to a guard. A blonde half-elven man looks up and says, "Oh, can I help you?"
Yes, alchemy labs. Could you point me in the right direction?
Yeah, they're going to be part of the Arcanical Studies, that building. There, across the little river.
Oh, great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And he just resumes being bored.
Yeah. That way.
You head over to the Arcanical Studies building. And as you enter it, you find that it's immediate, like, there's just, as soon as you enter the door, there's just like a hall in front of you. That there's like a big board of like directions and names.
Oh, well, here's the directory.
Yeah. In this hall, you see there's a number of names that like are responsible for different things. And then you do see Thalira Quent, Arcanist Adjunct, is right there to your left, basically.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to her, but I want to go to the bestial alchemist first to identify the samples, or at least get that process started, because that's part of my proof.
Yeah, sure. Okay, hold on a minute.
Plus, I have these eggs that Nora and I have been carrying, and maybe I know they're an alchemist, but they deal with beasts and monsters. Hopefully, they might be able to either tell me what they are or point me in the right direction.
Let's see here. Pull that up. You look into the various lists and you see under alchemy on the sections to the right, bestial
Mhm.
alchemy, you see there is Professor Kalis Orvan, bestial alchemy and subterranean biology. And it is 2 doors to your
Kalis
right.
Orban.
Yes. Kaelis.
Okay. There. Thar. I don't know why I said that with an accent. Thar. That's the one.
Rubbing off on you, aren't we?
See, I'm not the only one who can't speak.
As you go there immediately?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get this show on the road.
I didn't actually anticipate you going there first. Hold on.
I'm gonna get the stuff before the interrogation of Thelyriquint out of the
I
way
see.
first.
Okay.
Because if something goes wrong with Thelyriquint, I want to have all of that stuff accomplished first.
Understood. Okay. Yeah.
She might nuke me or run or I don't know. I don't know.
Who knows what'll
I
happen?
expect
I don't know. I literally don't know.
you. Oh,
I don't know. It could go.
depends on how it's gonna go.
Yeah. It could go many different ways. All right.
Uh-huh.
Let's see here. Hold on. My foundry's being slow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, you head into the bestial alchemy workshop, and it is
Mhm.
a large classroom. I think it might be best if I just show you.
Ooh. Cool.
This big, broad classroom with large ritual circles and all sorts of vials and tomes and reagents in jars all over the place. And you see that there are a number of students in here, but also there is a half-orc individual who has what looks like an 8-eyed crow on his shoulder.
Oh, that's a lot of eyes.
Yes.
Too many eyes.
It's a
some
little
might say.
unsettling, yeah.
Ugh.
But as you enter, he looks up. This is what he looks like.
It's just a guy.
Yeah. He looks up at you as you enter and he says, new students,
Uh,
perhaps?
I-
I
what
haven't
am
heard
I?
anything from administration.
I am not a new student, sir. I have an alchemical question that I could use some expertise on.
Ah, a practical matter.
Yes.
Very well. A moment. Let me
Mhm.
set these to simmer. And he does exactly that as he kind of like sets whatever it is he's working on what looks like a stone with glowing blue glyphs on it.
Mhm.
And then he approaches, like, taking his gloves off, and he says, I'm Professor Kalis Orvan, though I suspect you're aware of this, having
Yes.
arrived in my classroom. And you are?
My name is Lorna. This is my team. We work for the Marigard, and we are in the middle of an investigation that could use
Ah,
some of your knowledge.
well, for a team such as a reputable Marigard one, I'd be happy to offer what I can to help, which I need to know what that is.
I have some potentially biological samples that I took, and knowing where they came from precisely could solve a lot of problems. And also what uh, they could do if ingested, which seems to be the situation we're in right now.
I see.
She'll procure the 2 samples, the water with the milky residue, and then that soily, probably excrement.
Okay. Let's see here. He takes them from you, inspecting each one carefully. Where did you get these from?
A well in the northern part of the city, just outside the walls.
A well.
Mm-hmm.
He, like, looks at them, holding them up to the light, Right. Let's go ahead and perform some tests.
Did he took a pause there. Is anything weird going on with this dude? Oh,
No?
okay, he doesn't seem suspicious.
You can roll an insight check.
I feel like everybody's in on it. I'll roll an insight. 26.
He was looking very close at the
Okay.
vials.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe trying to discern something from just the appearance, and then decided, right, let's go perform a test.
Sure. Okay, so she is more at ease now.
As he heads over to an alembic, he immediately says, before anything else, whatever your assumptions as to what this might be, or what these sources are, whatever this material could be, you should throw them away.
Okay.
Because we do not want our biases to change the facts in front of us.
That's why I didn't mention what my theory was. I wanted you to be able to tell me as far as your expertise goes
Good.
without my coloring.
My expertise tells me
perspective.
this is gross water and this is a soil of some kind.
Uh-huh. They both came from the exact same place. Just one was on top of the other.
Well, let us see what we can discern.
Mhm.
And he takes the samples out of the vials and he begins to perform an alchemy check.
I hope he's good at those.
As a professor of it, he'd better be.
It's the day he rolls a natural one.
He did not.
Oh, thank God.
And over the next 10 minutes, he's performing these tests and heating these materials and spreading them out over what looks like a blue mirror almost. And he's igniting bits of the soil with a flame and recording this results. And then after all of that, he brings both the samples over across the room, sets them on this platform, and then begins looking at them through a lens. And once he has the lens just in the right place, he turns and he puts a piece of parchment up against the lens, and you see these colors are appearing on the parchment. And he's recording it down. And he says, right, okay, let's see what it is that we have ourselves here. And he goes to the long wall of books, and he's got this, what looks like a graph almost of numbers. And he's looking at the colors based on the numbers that he's holding. All this process takes
He's
20
testing
minutes.
the pH.
He's doing something. Eventually, he pulls the tome off of the shelves, and it's quite a ways down. And as he does, he looks in the index of the book and then begins flipping through pages. And he says, right, your first sample.
Is this the water or the soil?
This is the water.
Mm-hmm.
Looks as though this sample contains hints of alumina, iron, copper, many different oxides, sulfur. And then he pauses. He looks up at you. Where did you say you got this?
Oh, well.
A well.
In the northern region of town, presumably on the path of the river.
He taps his fingers on the page of the book he's looking at. Do you read half orc or orc?
She can read any language.
Okay. In Orcish, you see at the top is a broad title. And it's
This is shit, yo.
No, it's not shit.
Okay.
It says it is amalgam of arsenic and carbon.
Mm-hmm.
He is tapping the page, and he looks at you and he says, this is poison.
Uh-huh.
A frequent poison found in living creatures.
Uh-huh.
One often harvested from powerful living creatures to be used in, well, nefarious attempts.
Hmm.
Right. I'm going to continue with the next sample.
That may answer some questions for you. We'll see.
I hope so. As he goes and he, like,
He's like, this is in the water supply?
yeah, he looks a little concerned.
Oh
He does begin performing the same tests, like igniting it, recording the numbers, putting it through these various tests, and then finally looking at the light that seems to reflect off of the soil sample. And then he goes to a different book and he says, ammonia, iron, multiple different forms of crystalline carbon. This is excrement.
She'll kind of clap her hands again and say, that's what we thought.
Why have you... Why? You said these were both in the same place.
That's right.
Now, there is nothing pleasant about excrement, but it is not typically venomous.
We have reason to believe that this is the byproduct of a Merc Ma Hydra.
When you say that, his eyes like alight, and he says, "Oh, that would explain many things." And he like goes to like one of the further bookshelves, and he begins like sifting through them, and then he like completely unprompted pulls out a tome and begins shifting through it. And he says, "Merkma, Merkma, Merkma, Merkma. Yes, yes, blight rot."
Yes. Yes, we've heard that phrase in our research.
Yep. That is exactly what we are looking at. Mogarus Venus Aldusius, or Merkma-inflicted blight rot, a magically infused deterioration of organic and biological matter within a radius, whether it be by the Merkma's presence or excrement, or its own will, depending on the power of said Merkma. Do you know how old the creature is?
We do not.
Hmm.
I just know it. We were actually initially contracted out to take care of the Merkmaw, but then the poison in the water supply became a subject that we were then requested to look into, and proving that it was not just a poison of nefarious means, but rather an unfortunate natural circumstance is very important to us.
Well, a concerning note is that Merkma excrement, while it does contain poison, it is the same poison that one might harvest from a living creature to be used in nefarious means. So,
But the presence of the, as you confirmed, the excrement means that it wasn't intentional, at least by a person that we're aware of.
I see. Well, yes.
Unless someone carted excrement to deliberately poison the water supply.
I suppose one could do that. If they are willing to get close enough to a Merkma Hydra's lair to
It
collect
doesn't
its...
seem very reasonable, right? It would make more sense that there are reports of a hydra north of Shona, and
It would be
Shona is
upriver.
downstream.
Yes. Merkma would always appreciate homesteading near a source of water, so that would make sense by my research.
So, would you be willing to put it in writing, your results of these tests?
Oh, yes, of course.
I will warn you, and she kind of lowers her voice, it may be a legal matter shortly.
Why?
Is there anybody else in the room kind of paying
Yeah,
attention to that?
there's students, but they're not like...
Mhm.
They aren't really paying attention. You can roll an insight check to see if any of them are looking your way.
16.
A couple of students are, like, interested in what the professor is doing, but they aren't, like, hanging on to every word by a thread.
Shub will just look at the professor and say, "Could we talk a little more privately?"
Uh, yes. We'll head into my office.
Mhm.
And he takes you basically out the door that you came in and then across the hall into a cramped, uncomfortable, like single desk, two chair room. And he sits down at the desk and begins like looking for a fresh sheet of paper. Um,
To write his statement on, hopefully.
and he's like, as he does, he finally finds one and he looks up and he says, "Legal matter. Are you saying I would need to testify?"
Potentially. You may be aware this is an ongoing investigation, which is why the subject matter is so sensitive. But the youngest Garino son, have you heard anything about him recently?
No, but I admit I don't frequently pay attention to politics.
He was recently implicated in the poisoning of the water system.
Ah, and yet,
He claimed that he was looking into the possible influence of a Hydra, but the official law enforcement doesn't seem to be interested in pursuing that.
even though there is a Merkmar Hydra somewhere.
They know there's a Hydra. They don't know what type. I don't think they care because they conveniently found things in the sewer system that pointed directly to the youngest Girano and disregarded the facts of the matter.
Well, at a glance, the poisoned water would look as though someone had poisoned it.
And the constabulary admitted to me directly that they didn't know how he could have done it, just that the results were poison and people becoming ill from ingesting water infected by it.
Yes,
But
they would.
proving where this came from could be pivotal in this.
Right. I can promise that I can affirm these samples are clearly evidence of a Merkmar Hydra.
Mhm.
Not willing to
That
go any
can't,
farther than that.
and that's all I need. I don't expect that to have anything to do with whatever might be going on that put the youngest Girano behind bars. That's not your problem. All you need to do is to attest the facts of the matter, and you know precisely where this came from and the effects of it. Everything else is my problem.
Be sure it stays that way. If I lose my tenure here from this, I will have a problem with it.
We're planning on taking evidence above the local constabulary.
I see. Right. I need you to roll me a persuasion check.
Okay. 18.
He takes a breath and he begins to slowly, carefully write out that he affirms these samples are indeed like evidence that a Merkmah Hydra has
Mm-hmm.
secretions in the area. Um, it is, I mean, it is basically exactly what he said he would do.
Mm-hmm.
When it's done, he folds up the letter and he puts it into an envelope that he seals with a wax seal that is clearly a mark of the Shona Civic College, and then hands it to
Mm-hmm.
you.
Thank you, Professor Orphan.
You are welcome. I genuinely hope this goes well, and that it be the last I hear of it.
I promise you, we are doing our utmost to solve this.
Well, please try to solve it in a way that I keep my job.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what this egg is? Just trying to lighten the tone a little bit. She
Okay.
pulls it out of like her shirt too, because that's where it's been staying warm.
Okay,
It's a
hold
little
on.
glass egg.
Yeah, you pull out your egg. Um, as you pull it out, you get another look at it, and it is different than you last saw it.
Ooh.
Um, it is smooth and semi-transparent, like frosted glass. But now you see that there are faint veins of pale blue that flicker inside like
Ooh.
frozen lightning. It is cold to the touch, like a comfortable cold, not chilling. It's like holding a perfectly cooled crystal. You sometimes catch a glimpse of something coiling or flexing inside, like shadows moving in the misty depths. And it seems to, at a very slow rate, pulse with a heartbeat like rhythm. Let's see.
She procures that from her top.
Uh, yeah. Professor Kalis looks at it. Do you mind?
Oh, certainly.
Perhaps. Do you mind if we go back into my classroom where all of
Yes,
my...
this is personal. I bought this from a merchant in the desert. Thatch
Interesting.
the Hatcher, if you've heard of him.
He rolls a history. No, that's a new one.
Uh-huh.
And he goes back into his classroom and he begins peering through various books. I'm going to roll for him. Ah, yes. It is a Mistral Drake egg.
Mistral Drake egg. Like
Yes.
Mystral?
Yes.
What is that?
Oh, well, the Mistral Drake is... It's a fairly rare elemental drakekin from frozen peaks and crystalline glaciers of the northeast. They are, well, tied to an ancient elemental glacier. If a Mistral Drake is... And he's looking straight at an entry. If they perish, their life force, the energy, returns to that glacier as the magic returns to the ice. They are loyal, fiercely protective, and bond for life with their chosen keeper. They can breathe short blasts of freezing mist or shards of ice when threatened. They are trained commonly as personal guard beasts or cold weather mounts when full grown.
Oh. That's very cool. I think I paid 20 gold for this.
Oh, that was quite the steal. They are treasured by the armies of Kopaki, far north of Terracona. At least that's the only place I could think of that would use them. I do hope if you hatch it, you have a means of keeping it cool.
Oh, it doesn't that makes sense. Is it uh weak to warmth, I suppose, even just being in a warmer climates?
It is vulnerable to heat. So I suspect if you don't have a means to keep it cool once it's hatched, it will likely be uncomfortable at the least.
Okay, I can work. She kind of gestures to herself, wizard, I can figure something out. Maybe like a piece of jewelry or collar that just routinely pushes out cold air or something like that.
I'm sure you'll figure something out. And then as soon as that happens, Norre perks up and says,
Procures her.
"Can you say what mine is?"
This guy's doing a lot of free labor.
He looks over his shoulder at Norre's egg. Oh, at glance, I'd say that's a griffin's egg, but we can maybe figure out exactly what
Lorna
kind.
starts bouncing up and down immediately. Oh, I hope it's a griffin. I hope it's a griffin. That would be so cool. Nori, you have a griffin egg. She starts shaking her.
She's like, all right,
Oh,
okay, fantastic.
a
Let's fucking
griffin!
make
You could
sure it
fly on a
is.
griffin.
Let's make sure it is one. And the professor has like opened up a different book and is looking through. I'm rolling for him. Okay. Yes, this is a Highland Griffin, a rugged breed from steep highlands and stiff coasts. Though it is fairly early in its maturation cycle, it's not going to hatch for a while. I can't say that I know for yours. He turns and looks at you. He has no idea how long it'll take before the Mistral Drake hatches.
But it looks like it's changed quite a bit since she picked it up.
The Griffin egg looks basically the same. He like opens the book and he says, "Highland Griffin, the egg will hatch into a downy chick the size of an owl.
Oh.
It will eventually grow into an agile predator. Stoic, independent, but once bonded, utterly devoted. These griffins are prized for their stamina and cliff-flying prowess. They're typically trained as personal mounts, messengers, or scouts. This breed is sure-footed and fearless at high altitudes, one would hope, if it's going to be flying. In some cultures, the Highland Griffin is considered a symbol of watchfulness and truth, said to see through lies when grown." And he shuts the book. There you are.
Thank you. This is fantastic news. I'm very excited.
Nori's like looking at the egg in her palm with a smile on her face. That is good news. Thank you.
It's so cool.
Any advice to hatch it? Keep it warm, comfortable, and safe. Don't shake it around too much. They are hardy creatures.
Should I keep mine cold? I've been keeping it in my. She kind of gestures to her top, but it's a cold thing and it doesn't like heat. Should I not be heating it?
For yours, I believe you want it to be close to your person. It is the sort of creature that hatches by attunement. So,
Oh,
they are a
I just have
magical
to love
creature
it.
by nature, yes.
She gives it a whole bunch of kisses.
When you bring it that close to you, you almost feel like it shift, like it's turning inside the egg.
Oh, she says, "I love you."
There is no response to the words, but you definitely feel like your proximity being that close has an effect.
This is my child. She tucks it right back into her top.
He just says that is a solution. So, if that is everything, I have a
That
class
is,
to go
I'm
back
sorry
to.
to pull you away from your. Yes, thank you so much. You've been an immense amount of help.
I am pleased to offer some solutions. And with that, I bid you all a good day. And the professor goes back
Gives him a very polite bow and leads the way out.
Okay. As you leave the bestial alchemy classroom and subterranean biology, immediately out in the hall,
Lorna skips out.
a Mistral Drake for 20 gold.
Mhm.
I've never even heard of that. And
Yeah.
I mean, I've studied a lot of creatures, but I guess none of the Arctic ones.
Well, my lifestyle isn't super suited to the cold.
No.
Noray's is more in line with that, but we're not in the north right now either.
I'm not trading.
I know. This is my child. And she like kind of clutches her chest where the egg is. I'll figure something out. I'm very magically advanced. I will figure out how to make something that will keep him nice and cold.
Uh, in like the pause of everyone just like a little awkward, Skolna just nods.
Yeah, she gets it. We have to talk about names later, Nore.
Nore like blinks and she says,
You're not excited to name your child?
I want to see what he's like. I want to see what they're like when they hatch.
Oh,
To name it before would be not fair.
oh. Lorna, like, that doesn't resonate with her at all. She's like, what? But it'll come into the world and it won't have a name.
I'll know
What are
it
you
when
gonna
I
call
see
it?
it.
Griffin? Until you figure it out?
I probably won't call it anything. I'll just be like, hey, you.
Hey, you. Hmm. Well, I'm gonna have something on the back burner. Just a couple things, maybe 20 options.
Anscombe gives you a pat on the shoulder and he says, I can't wait to hear the various names for your first child.
Lorna, like, looks over at Anscombe and she's like, this is, like, fate or fortuitous because she
You
points
bought it.
directly at Anscombe's chest. Frost.
Oh, yeah.
And the egg is cold. So
Yep.
it's our child.
Anscombe, like, blinks, reaches into his pouch, and gives you 10 gold.
Oh,
That's my half.
child support.
Yep.
She takes the 10 gold. You're gonna have to help feed him and maybe change him. I don't really know how drakes work.
I don't know either. I've never.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out. We're new parents together.
I mean, I've helped tend to oxen, but I've never.
I'm sure it's basically the same principle.
They make a lot of shit,
Oh,
so I'm hoping not. I'm hoping it's
well,
completely different.
he has not arrived yet, so we'll think about it. We'll do some reading. I don't know. We
Such
have
a
to talk to
small
a.
egg for.
It's gonna get so big. We need to talk to an elemental alchemist now. And in fact, she kind of like lowers her voice. This is the one that we're gonna have to interrogate. So I guess be on your guard. It might go south.
Okay.
You all ready?
You're all like your whole squad is like standing in this hallway,
Are
and
you ready?
yeah, we're ready.
Okay, great. She will go find the Lyriquent.
Okay, it's basically like in the opposite direction. You
Hmm.
see that Thalira Quent has like an actual office on the left hand side, and you see on the right it just says arcane practice and study. So that looks like a classroom, but when you try and open that door, it is locked, and you don't hear anything from that room.
I guess she doesn't have a class today. She's got to have an office nearby, just like Professor Orvin did.
Tyr points at the door opposite that just says Arcanist Adjunct Thalira Quent.
There it is.
You're a
I
genius.
figured it out. She will go to that door. Is there like a little window or is it opaque?
It's a wooden door. There is
No,
no
don't
there
look.
is no window. There is a moment's pause. You hear like someone set something like wooden and small down on a surface, and you hear,
Probably a knife because she's evil.
yeah, probably. Who is it?
Um, I have a question. I'm not a student, just someone looking for your expertise.
Um, there's like a pause. Like it seems like they're trying to like formulate a response. Visiting hours are after the school day's finished.
You'll probably find it really interesting.
Roll a persuasion check. Or no,
She's
it's a
not
deception
wrong.
check. This is
No,
a
she's not.
deception.
She's not. She's showing. She's gonna show her the embers. The what is it called? The ember draft
Oh,
that she found. That she does. She's gonna lead in with something completely unrelated to
I
the
see.
whole Hydra shit. Literally the Hydra shit.
Okay.
Oh, my deception's a lot better. Why did I do that to myself? I rolled a 3. Or a 12.
Uh,
I promise if you just look at it, you'll really. I promise it's super cool. One of a kind, even.
I am terribly busy. I'm sorry. If you want to make an
Ugh.
appointment, you can at the administration's office. Otherwise,
Mm.
consultations are by appointment only.
Lorna kind of mutters under her breath. Professor Orin was a lot nicer. What? When are visiting hours?
Uh, there's a pause, and you hear like a small sigh. Classes end at 4 o'clock.
It's like what, 3?
It's like 2 in the afternoon.
Oh, we met Elliot at 2, and then we walked all the way here.
That's true. Okay, yeah, it's like 3.
I was like, really? An hour? Okay, we'll make an appointment for 4. We'll be back.
There is no response.
To the administration to make an appointment for an
Okay.
hour from now.
Yeah, that's
God,
how
I
it
should have rolled
works.
deception. Fuck.
Well,
Real world Quincy's?
you go to administration. There is like a lot of people in here. It seems,
Ugh.
people looking for answers, people looking for information, people that are looking to enroll.
I should have mentioned bulwark.
Well,
Shit.
as
It's just,
you finally get up to the counter, then this halfling looks up at you and says, "Hello, welcome to the Shauna Civic College. How can I help you?"
hi, I would love an appointment with Thalia Quent as soon as possible.
Oh, uh, you need to have an appointment with the Arcanist Adjunct. Can I understand the nature of your appointment?
Yes, I have been working on an alchemy brew that is not quite complete, and I think that her expertise could really solve what I'm missing.
Okay. As you say that, um, you suddenly are keenly aware of this little orb on the counter that glows a pale blue. The halfling looks at the orb, and as the orb is glowing blue, I need you to roll me a charisma saving throw.
Fucking orb of truth. I need one of these. Charisma saving throw. 15?
With a 15, the orb like pauses and just remains blue, and the halfling just very well. The nearest appointment will be at 4:30 this afternoon. Oh,
Hey, and it's like 3:30, 3:45?
you look at the timepiece on the wall. It is about it's 3 it's 3:30.
Okay. Okay. Great. Fantastic. Can I just wait anywhere?
The halfling looks at you and says, "You can do whatever you like."
Oh, great. Cool. And just go to her office at 4:30.
She like tilts her head and she says, perhaps the Arcanist classroom would be a better
Oh,
place,
sure.
as she would be
Yeah.
expecting you there.
Yep. Nope. Never done this before. Yep. Sounds good.
Have a pleasant day. And
Thank you.
the halfling just like seems to mark something down, and as you're
Fucking
leaving,
weirdo.
yeah, uh, you did. We didn't address it, but you gave her your name, basically.
Yeah.
Um. So you have an hour to kill.
Lorna wants to write a scroll out for Guys of the Golem because that was going to be part of her exchange with Bulwark later in the evening.
Okay. Roll Arcana.
She could. Okay. Urkina. Oh my god, Becky. Look at that one. The natural one. for a 10.
Um, you are distracted.
She's thinking about her egg.
Okay.
She realizes halfway through what she was supposed to be transcribing as a spell on a scroll is just different ideas for names.
As that's happening, you hear Anscombe over your shoulder and say, "That doesn't look like a spell."
Oh, fuck. I'm just really excited about parenthood.
I see. This is not something we've ever talked about before.
Why? I mean, obviously that is something that needs to be talked about. It's just a Drake. I know that, but I'm just excited about it.
Yep. Anscombe, like, takes a seat next to you at this table that you found in, like, a study hall, basically, in the Civic College. So you want kids?
Well, I don't know if I've really ever thought about it genuinely.
You might want to think about it. Because if that's something you want, like settling down, it's not something I'm opposed to, but we have a whole lot on our plate.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously that wouldn't like if that was a decision that was being made, it wouldn't happen until like a lot of things are solved. Like I don't know. Um, yeah, there's a lot of stuff
All this shit with
that would
Lily,
come first.
all
Yeah,
this shit with
that
the
and
Master.
yeah, and oh, my dad and stuff like that. Obviously, there's a lot to consider. And what do you think about it?
About kids?
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, sure. But not until we.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that makes sense.
But also, we make a lot of money, but we spend a lot of money.
Sure, but I mean, if we just weren't doing big, crazy shit all the time, it'd probably be easier to save because, I could write scrolls and dinner.
You could write scrolls and dinner.
Write scrolls, sell them, get gold, buy dinner.
Okay.
It's like a retirement plan or something.
I don't think I've ever seen you blush this hard.
Ugh! Are everybody else doing their own shit?
Everyone's bored right now. Everyone's
Okay,
just kind
good.
of like playing cards or, passing time somehow.
When she realizes how little she's actually going to accomplish during this hour, like it's probably very early on that she's like, wow, I'm not doing any actual work. I'm just daydreaming instead. She would look at Anscombe and say, hey, can we find a private place?
Now?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
There seemed to be like a corner. I don't know what the setup of this building looks like, or if they have
It's
to step outside or
it's a
something like that.
pretty open building with lots of tables and benches and students. But you see that there are
Hmm.
quieter corners that are almost like sectioned off rooms with tables in them that look like they're just private study rooms, basically.
Yeah, she'll pick one of those. God, this reminds me of college.
It is a college. It is literally
Oh
a
shit!
college.
You've nailed the vibe.
I've been to a
I'm right
college.
there.
So, as you guys go into a private study room, Anscombe, like, lets the door close. What's up?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Um, about the whole. I don't know. I've obviously been giving weird fucking vibes about this whole assassin thing, and I didn't realize how I was making you feel, and I'm sorry about that.
I see. It is a little odd being, well, I don't have a problem with flirtations. I mean, I know that you dated Tier for a little while, and he's Tier. He hits on everybody and everything. But I know that there's an adrenaline about the fight. I know that there is a heat and passion around it. I know that he tried to kill you, and he's tried to kill you several times.
And
So,
will again.
and yeah, he will. So, when he was charming you, and it seemed like there was, I don't know if connection is the right word, but maybe it was just horniness that I was detecting. I don't know. But you seemed intrigued. Or maybe you just found him appealing.
Amusing, really?
Anscombe raises an eyebrow. You were looking at him more than he was amusing, Lorna. I think I know you well
I
enough.
I felt very entertained by his attitude and disposition for the position that he was in, which was trying to kill me. Um, but for him to be like so nonchalant about it, the juxtaposition was just intriguing to me.
That's
I
fine.
understand what you're saying, though.
That's fine. I'm not upset about it. I trust you.
Mhm.
I especially trust you around a guy who's trying to kill you.
That does put a thing in things.
It caught me off guard. It made me feel jealous. It made me feel angry with myself that I was jealous of this hitman. But the thing is, I don't feel sorry for that. I don't think I owe an apology, if that makes
I,
sense.
I don't think you do either.
But I also don't think
I
you owe me an apology.
I just don't ever want to make you feel bad, negative in any way.
You didn't. Am I making sense? I realize this is kind of intense.
This is all kind of new to me too. I
Well,
just hope we're okay.
we are okay. I think what got to me is me being in my own head. And this guy, I know we're going to see him again.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're probably going to try to kill him again. And he's going to try to kill you again. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand this guy. I don't understand how that can be a thing. How there are multiples of him.
I would really like to get to the bottom of that too. Um, it's just on the list, you know. We
Yeah.
understand that there is multiples of him that he can show up basically whenever he wants to.
Oh man, I wish we had another one of those potions that just told you a truth.
Lorna kind of looks a little abashed, knowing that she wasted it on something a little silly. I didn't feel silly in the moment. Um,
But now we know they exist, so maybe we can find another one.
Another one of those potions. I bet they're pretty expensive.
Or maybe we can find. My dad used to tell me about sphinxes, if we could find one of them.
That is what it seemed to branch off from. I could become a really good potions person.
And make one.
Maybe.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Either way, we are gonna find out how he's doing it, and I think it'd be great if I could get him to drop the contract and leave us alone. Or even take one up against her and then, be her perpetual problem.
Well, he seemed pretty clear about wanting a wish.
That feels more possible to get than a Sphinx Truth Potion.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know how to get a wish that I don't?
There are some items that can help grant you wishes. You can get a wish from Magos if you perform a spell that he's impressed by. He could potentially get it if he makes a pact with an entity strong enough to cast wish.
Hmm. Pact. You mean like what you have?
Like with the same person too. Um, I think that Alexios's penchant for spying and gathering information full to the person that I'm in a pact with.
You think your patron would grant him a wish?
Maybe. Or show him the path to one in exchange for work.
It might be easier if we could find out why he wants a wish.
I have a theory,
I'm all
but
ears.
well, we talked to him a little bit, and I seem to have sort of hit a nerve when I implied that he wanted to, like, it had to do with a loved one, maybe. He didn't say he needed to reincarnate, so um it might not be that he's like a loved one has passed that he can't bring back to life. I don't know if I'm even in the right ballpark there, but it seemed to be maybe someone he cared about. It has to do with that.
Someone matters to him that he needs a wish for.
Maybe.
What's that old saying? That love is the foe of reason, or something like that?
That sounds about right.
Well, if we could find some leverage on him, especially something that makes it appealing to work with
Mhm.
us against the master as opposed to the other way around. Well, he was talking about having principles and would never flip a contract.
Well, we talked about that he might, if he breaks the contract or we buy out his contract, then he's no longer contracted with her and therefore is not part of his I don't kill employers cut. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Right.
I feel like there's some nuance or some sort of semantics we might be able to play with here to get him to agree to it.
So how much money do we need to buy out the contract?
He said 5,000,
5,000 and a wish.
which the coin itself is not a problem if we can manipulate the bounty. If that is Alexios who robbed that bank.
Let's not count on it.
Sure, but that would be a really fast track to get to that
It would
amount
be
of money.
incredibly convenient.
It would be.
And if he did rob that, he's got so much money, it's not even funny.
Well, Ada, so why does he even need it from us? I don't know.
So I don't think it was him.
She just kind of scuffs the floor with her foot. I don't know.
Why don't we... Here's an idea. After we finish this Hydra shit, and then we finish helping Skola,
Mm-hmm.
then we get back to Ferrum, and we deal with your pop.
Yeah. Mhm.
After all of that, why don't we see if there's any incredibly lucrative missions the Merryguard has? If we can make enough money from a Merryguard mission, then we can just buy it out.
Yeah. As long as the wish isn't part of it. Unless I somehow get my hands on that. We're thinking really far ahead, I suppose.
I mean, we were talking about kids earlier.
That felt less scary to me than this.
Really?
Weird, right? Yeah.
That is crazy.
I guess I just like you.
That's good, because I love you.
guess I also love you too.
Thank fuck for that. Or this would all be very confusing, and I don't need that emotionally traumatic a night after all this.
No, you got a fight to prepare for.
Oh, I'm ready.
You might end up throwing a punch or two at Thalia Quint, depending on how she takes the interrogation that we're going to lay on her.
Okay. What is. Wait a minute. What? How? I have to punch a mage? Why?
I don't if she gets squirrely,
I thought
she might
Skullno was the
not.
one who would put the tax in.
If Thalia, well, we're gonna first ask about this potion because I really do want to see if I can finish it. And then after that, I'm just gonna drop. Hey, are you for the Velastros to frame Lucy and Garano? Wild question.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that'll go over well.
Well, it'll catch her on her back foot. And I have Zone of Truth. It obviously doesn't force you to answer, but if she refuses to answer, then that's a good answer, isn't it?
Sure. What are we hoping to learn from her?
Well, if she's willing to try to save her own hide and not go down with the Velastros, because they will go down because we will have proof, she might testify against them or help us find some other proof of the Velastros' involvement in the framing of Lucian.
Okay, maybe. Wait. Explain to this to me like I'm a fucking idiot, because I'm confused. We know
Okay.
it was a Merkma Hydra that
Uh-huh.
took a dump in the river, and that's what
Yep.
poisoned the water supply. And we
Yes.
know that Lucian learned about that, so he was going to try and, what, find it? Collect it?
Yeah. Yeah. He was trying to solve it on his own, presumably to have the public admiration
And the
for solving this
Velastros,
problem.
what, they learned he was down there, so they made it look like he did it?
I'm actually not super clear on how they would have known to capitalize on this, other than the Dareth estate, which we were at, in the well we looked in. They were the first people to suffer the ill effects of this poisoning. And the Dareths seem to be in cahoots with the Velastros to frame Lucian because they'll achieve some sort of perks if the Velastros are the head of the city of Shona. So they stand to gain from helping frame him, and they were the ones who noticed ill effects of the Hydra's influence first.
Okay. And if we
So
can
maybe
get
they just hmm.
if we can get Quint to
She was
testify,
in the sewers 2 days before Lucian was caught down there. So she was up to something. We need to figure out what that was. And if we can imply potentially, hey, we know you can either help us out or you're going down with them, maybe she'll be willing to help us. Tell us more about what she was doing down there or the last resolve. Does that make sense or am I crazy?
I just don't. Okay. No, that makes sense.
Because we don't know what she was doing down there, but we know she was down there. And she works for the Velastros in some capacity.
So if she knew that this poison was in the water,
Hmm.
but she didn't say anything because the
Or,
Velastros were.
yeah, or maybe we don't know what she was doing down there. So finding out what she was doing down there first and foremost is important, and then we can sort of apply some heat.
Okay.
Like, hi, we noticed there was a report that had you in this location at this time, and we're looking into it. Can you tell us more about why you were down there? So I'm not going to come out swinging as hard as I kind of implied that I would by being like, are you working with the Velastros to fuck over Lucy? That was a little much. I do agree with that. I think putting her in that location 2 days before Lucian was arrested and trying to figure out what she was doing down there and seeing if she'll try to lie her way out of it or actually be honest and then kind of going, I don't really know how I'm going to tackle this quite yet. I know our meeting is in like 30 minutes.
Maybe sort that out.
I'll sure I should talk to the rest of everybody. We should get them in here.
Okay, let's go get him.
Okay. I am going to run to the bathroom really quick though. Pen
All
said to
right.
Echo.
So you have called the rest of your party into the
Mhm.
little private study room. It is crammed in here. And as you all pile in, Lois like squeezes in last, and she says, "Well, now I know what a ration feels like."
I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page with Quint.
Okay, what does that mean?
She basically outlines everything she just said to Anscombe. And then as she finishes that, she says, "Okay, so I need to know how to tackle this conversation with her. The interrogate you try to find answers kind. Should I go in hard? Should I go in like a little softer? I'm worried about playing my hand."
Skolna like leans up against the wall, and she says, "Ask leading questions. Make her
Okay.
give something up.
Like, what were you doing down there?
Bring up that she's on record, but the record disappeared."
Okay. Why do you think that is?
Skolna like nods.
Uh-huh. So this is my first time.
She like her head ducks, and she says, "Point out why it's shady."
So should I mention, like, we've already visited the Dareth estate
Skolna nods.
and that Aurum Velostra was seen there, and they called him a prince, or the groundskeeper called him a prince. Is he a prince? I didn't know there was like a royalty in this area.
Everyone
Or was that
shrugs.
like a nickname? Okay, well shit. None of us are from here. Um, we've she's like jotting these down as I jot my notes down. We've already visited the Dareth estate and taken samples. I could say, and we were just at your colleagues. We've gotten a confirmation that what's poisoning the water is, Hydra biological waste. So,
Maybe don't point out that we went to a colleague of hers, because if she's
yeah,
got connections, that might make that colleague disappear.
right. And he seemed like a really nice guy.
Just so
Because
we
he
have
also,
it
yeah,
confirmed.
we have it confirmed that these samples are, a result of the Hydra. Should I say, like, and since you were on the record as having been down there yourself, were you looking into this question? Is that good? She looks at Skolna, waiting for
Skolna nods.
validation. Okay.
Skolna then goes on to say, "Point out that she knows, or she knew, what the real problem was, and yet let it fall on Lucian."
Okay.
Point out that it's clear someone's paying her.
Yeah. Or happening, but let it fall on Lucian. It's clear someone it's it's clear someone's paying you off.
Skolna nods.
Okay. And then kind of go from her reactions. I have a zone of truth that I can cast through my staff. I know obviously it doesn't force you to answer, but like if she refuses, then that's an answer.
There generally seems to be an air of agreement.
And I don't think I should start out that way. That's, you know,
That will
leaves
be
no
a bad.
trust.
Yeah, you want to pretend like you're giving her the benefit of the doubt.
Right. I'll keep it on tap if we're trying to apply some heat. Like, if you're innocent, like, obviously, just whoop, zone of truth. Okay, you tell me you're innocent right now. Right now, Gwent. Sorry, that was a little spicy.
Good thing these walls are likely fairly soundproof.
um, and maybe kind of like So, like, listen, Quinn, we know all of this. You can work with us, and things may end up more in your favor, or we can do this the hard way.
Well,
How does that sound?
I think giving her a way out is the right course of action.
Okay.
Be like, work with us on this, you know, blah 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 blah.
Look how much we already know. Okay. You could help us and have this end up more favorably for you. Or, okay. All right, yeah, good start. Good start. And, keep an eye, make sure to tell if she's lying or not. If you think she's gonna throw a fireball in my face, in advance.
You have counter spell, don't you?
I don't have any third level spell slots left. I spent them all texting Alexios.
Course you did. Okay.
You were all there for that. Don't pretend you didn't know what was happening.
I just forgot that that's what happened. It's been a long day.
A long day. Yeah, it's been weeks in one day. Yes, I'm aware. I could lock. I could lock the door with arcane lock. I'm just trying to find a use for that spell.
You could do that. Why?
If she's running for it, I'll lock the door.
Let's, you know,
I'm
play it by
thinking
ear.
a little. Yeah, okay. Maybe we should just talk to her. I really want to figure out this potion though. And break.
Your party leaves the private study hall and you head in the direction of the Arcanical Studies building.
Hooray!
As you head there, you do eventually get to this where you were earlier today, just
Hmm.
opposite the Lyra Quint's office. You see the classroom now, the door. There's light from underneath. And the door does not look locked anymore, so I assume you go in?
Yes.
Okay. Let me go ahead and place the party, just in case.
Just in case.
You know, who knows how it goes. Okay. And as you enter, you
Oh, she's
see.
cute. No, I'm so weak.
As you enter, you see that Thalira Quint is at the desk at the far side of the room. She stands as you enter. I take it you are Miss Lorna Halliweth and the Nightingales?
That's right.
I appreciate you being prompt for your appointment. How can I help you?
When we were looking for someone who could give us some information on this task of ours, you were highly recommended by Bulwark.
Oh, good. We have a pleasant working relationship. I've used his services many times, and he's used mine.
Hmm. So that is what sent us in your direction. I have something I think could be greatly interesting to you. She will procure the unfinished Ember draft and place it in front of her.
Uh, she looks down at the vial. It is, well, interesting. You are familiar with the description of the potion earlier, though now it almost looks as though it might have been simmering on its own. It glows red.
Ooh.
Red light seems to shine from inside it, and it looks as though there is just a swirl of what looks like flame in like a tiny tornado inside the potion. Um, Thalera looks at it with raised eyebrows. That is remarkable.
Hmm.
Though And she like taps her spectacles and looks closer. She draws a wand, and you watch as she casts a spell.
Mhm.
You recognize, identify as she picks up the potion with her other hand. It is incomplete.
It is. That is my issue.
It's
I sorry, go on.
this is an elixir,
Hmm.
half brewed. There are elemental cores dissolved in this solution. It
Hmm.
has been passed through an analogous Banasite filtration method, and it has been infused with a phoenix feather. It requires
I
some
believe
more distillation and elemental cores.
exactly. I believe it's missing just an air heart and a fire heart, which I don't know how to find. That's just what I gathered from
Ah,
the notes.
an Earhart is purchasable for a sum of coin from a component shop. A Fireheart, core of a flame elemental, that can only be acquired in the plane of fire,
Oh,
for it burns the instant it arrives in our plane.
that makes sense.
Do you know what this potion is supposed to be?
Theories. I have some half mad scrawlings from the originator.
Can I see them?
She'll procure the journal that had the notes in it specifically and slide
She,
them over.
she begins looking through it. Hold on. Okay. Huh. A madman. Truly. Uh, a man of no moral code, but particularly profound arcane intellect. Right. I believe this is a Paraean elixir, or a heartfire draft, um, as they used to call it. It is an ancient recipe, an old device from before the silence. Uh, it was a tool used by the ancient elemental monasteries to safely traverse the elemental plane of fire. Are you familiar with the Investiture of Flame spell?
Uh, yeah, it's quite high level. Not something I could cast quite yet, but I know it makes you immune to fire.
Indeed.
Is that what this does?
It is an elixir, so it applies the effects of a similar Investiture of Flame in a permanent manner.
So you're just immune to fire for the rest of your life?
Until a powerful spell were to strip it away? Yes.
That's pretty remarkable.
It is a transformative potion. Obviously, it can have its effects, and it seems as though this particular potion, uh, many sacrifices went into making it, and it is still incomplete. And she, like, slides it back towards you.
I mean, I like to finish it. I just am not an alchemist
Indeed.
myself. I am a arcane practitioner, but not an alchemist.
Well, should you happen to slay a greater fire elemental, harvest its flame core, and then manage to preserve it, bring it back into the primaterial plane, I'd be happy to assist you in distilling it.
That's that's the hard part, huh?
Oh, yes. You might be able to find one preserved for a significant sum of money, though you might also have to just requisition it from the Arcane Forge and see if they have any retrievers available to go collect one.
That sounds like a job that We would more likely do ourselves, if that makes any sense to you.
I have never visited the plane of fire myself, nor have I ever sought out a greater fire elemental, but I've read about them. Tremendously dangerous. I wish you
Well,
luck, should that be in
a-
your future.
as Marigard mercenaries, every day is tremendously dangerous.
So I hear.
In a similar vein of conversation, thank you for looking at this. She takes the brew back.
Mm.
We are actually in Shona for um, contracted work business
Oh.
that you might be able to help us with.
Oh? More than just a Piraean elixir?
That is just for pleasure. I we happened upon that.
I see. Well, how may I be of service to a Merigard mercenary team?
We are looking into a little problem that Shona seems to be having right now. Perhaps you've heard of it, perhaps you haven't. It's pretty localized in the northern area of town, but the contaminated water.
Ah, I have heard some rumors.
Inside check.
Roll an insight check.
What's the vibe? 22.
She seems guarded. Um, she seems like she's definitely heard some rumors.
Mhm. We've been tasked with looking into it. It seems the local constabulary is struggling to find a cause or solution. We have already been to the northern part of town, the Dareth Estate in particular, to gain some samples of the water and the soil that seem to be present in the water. And I believe we have some confirmation on that as to what it actually is.
And what is it?
It seems to be the biological waste of a Merkbah hydra, one that has been known to be in the area north of here.
Um, where?
The north of Shona, nearby the river.
I see.
Does that seem like it's genuinely surprising to her?
Roll an insight check.
23.
She seems confused. You don't know if surprise is the right word, but she does seem confused.
Do you know much about Hydra, Miss Quint?
No more than in passing.
I have recently been enlightened upon the subject, specifically of Murkmaw and their polluting nature. Uh, they can do it by will, and it can just be a natural happenstance of their presence in the environment. Unfortunately, Shona is downstream from where it has decided to make its home.
I see. So you're saying a Merkmar Hydra is responsible for what?
For the contamination of the water supply that has been affecting people in the area.
What does that have to do with me?
Well, see, as we were looking into this issue, we discovered some reports in the presence in the sewer system and in the cisterns, and your name came up.
You see her just it's this with that 23 in insight, just there is like the slight like hardening of the jaw. Like not
The
good
weirdest
news.
thing is, the record seems to have been altered or misplaced. Why do you think that is?
I suspect our good Captain Harold has been careless with his records again. That is a routine overstep for him, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not from here.
Well,
I think that's actually why they got us involved in this, is because we're third party. Um, there's no muddy waters,
Hmm.
just the facts.
I
So why were you?
was in the undertunnels.
Hmm.
As an adjunct of the Civic College, my responsibilities include supervising the integrity of the city's arcane wards. Shona's sewers and cisterns rely on them to keep groundwater clean, or at least cleaner than it would be otherwise. That ward net was due for recalibration.
Hmm. Did you notice anything wrong with the water down there? Since that's precisely what these wards are for, is to prevent things like that from happening.
To be honest with you, I did not look that close at the water. I was managing the wards. A maintenance crew logged irregular magical seepage. I was called to assess it.
Hmm. So there wasn't anything wrong with the wards that you saw.
They needed to be uh, reinforced. They needed to be refortified and the rituals performed once again, but that is routine.
Do you think that this kind of contamination could have passed through it because they hadn't been refortified recently?
There's a hesitation. I don't frankly know. Um,
Does she not know, or is she just floundering for an excuse?
Roll an insight check.
Dirty 20.
She knows more than she's saying, but you do get the chance that she's telling the truth that she was there on official business.
Hmm.
Um, you do also get the impression that she feels a little annoyed that her name is being brought up.
What does this have to do with me? Everything, Quent. Okay, well, I'm loath to bring it up, really, I am, Miss Quent, but you understand that this looks a little odd, right? That there was a report, and then it was misplaced, that you were down there, and you just didn't happen to notice the polluted water, which apparently has a very visual, distinct look to it. This, and she actually procures the sample, this kind of milky substance.
Look, I was escorted by two civic wardens and left within an hour. There were no forced grates, no tools, no satchels left behind.
Hmm.
I didn't notice the water looking like that, but I also wasn't
Hmm.
looking closely.
Well, it's interesting that you would bring up there was no forced grates or tools, because we know for a fact that this is just nature, that the hydro waste made its way into the water supply because hydras do that, especially merkmaws. They are just poisonous by association. So nothing other than the substance of the water would look off. No one put this in there deliberately.
So, what is your point?
Well, the point is, 2 days after you were down there, apparently, um, the youngest Garano was implicated in the contamination of the water supply. Even though he had put in reports that there was something wrong with the water and it be looked into, and those reports went missing too. That's weird, right?
I would agree.
Mm. Miss Quent, can we just be perfectly honest with each other here?
I'm certainly trying to be.
I don't know if that's entirely true.
Hmm.
I feel like we already know that there is some money being exchanged, At the very least, in the constabulary. We're certain of it. We're just checking all avenues for the same kind of problem. Does that make sense?
I didn't. I did not pour poison in the water.
I know. I want to know maybe who may have benefited from Lucian being implicated, or maybe how all of his things ended up down there. Was that just the guards placing them there to be found? Did somebody else do that just before he was caught down there?
Be careful with your implications.
I'm just saying that you could work with us and this could end much more favorably in your favor. Or this could be more difficult. We know quite a bit already.
Lucian's family and the others in town have been at each other's throats for decades, but poison in the water helps no one. What do you think?
We know.
What?
We do know that you have a particular connection with the Velostro family.
Look.
This isn't about the poison so much, Miss Quent. We know that that was just what happened. But it's very convenient that the youngest Garano would be implicated when their family was already on rocky footing as far as their reputation goes in town, and that other families might be able to benefit from that. That's really what we're here for.
Roll a intimidation check.
Oh no. But I'm being so soft.
Yeah,
It's
but
not my
the
best
things
roll
you're
out of all of
saying
them.
are not soft.
Please roll good, Lorna. I rolled okay. 18.
18.
That's pretty good.
Velastro needed Lucian out of the way. I made the few wards flicker. I made sure the civic logs looked right. The boy's family was slipping. It's the way things work in Shona. If he was too soft to play, maybe his house should not be ruling. Velastro owns half the guard now, heralds included. If you want to fix this, you need to kill the Hydra, find the true toxins, and drag heralds through the dirt, and survive it.
Mhm. I appreciate your candor. We did plan on slaying the Hydra because it obviously can't keep polluting the water supply. It'll hurt people. That was on the list, but we would like to get Lucian out of prison because he is paying us.
If you can prove I'm not the only one, if you can bring me something real on heralds or the Dareths and their connection, I will help you bury them.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go down alone, you get nothing from me.
I'm not interested in taking you down.
Then perhaps we
I know
can work together.
Lucian was just trying to help in his own misguided and kind of stupid way,
He's a
and it was
fool.
very convenient. Yes, we understand that. Sincerely. I think we can talk um, plainly now, can't we? He is our employer. It would be nice to be paid for the job that we came here for. So if we can get a reprieve on his part from prison, that's great. I already know Harald's is the main figure issue here. He was blatantly guilty when we implied that there might be money exchanging hands. So we have the samples, we have confirmation what they are, but you said kill the Hydra and get the substance. Are you talking about its poison glands?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to have to do that anyways. Do you think Harald's would have some sort of written correspondence from one of the Velostros, possibly Tassio?
Absolutely not.
How do you think that they would communicate in such a way that we might be able to get that physical evidence?
There is a civic scholarship fund. All hush, no paper trail, just favors.
Mhm.
That scholarship fund has a subsidiary in the constabulary.
I see.
They are listed as a benefactor, but it is very
Mhm.
few individuals in the constabulary that actually see that coin, and it is funded by the Velastros.
I see. How do you think I could get physical proof of that written down? Is there records here at the Civic College that might be able to implicate that?
That. She kind of glances at Skolna.
We'll be able to do that. We just need to know it exists.
That would be with the scholarship records in the dean's office.
Understood. We can do that first. It's closer than the Hydra.
If you get caught, I did not tell you a thing.
I understand. We're not going to talk about you at all once we leave this place because, as I said, we don't care about your involvement in this, but we would love your help in fixing it.
She nods. Then are we finished?
I believe so. Yes.
Thalera, kind of curtly gathers up her own satchel.
I may send you a message if we need to talk again.
If you must. I do have another appointment in half an hour, if you don't mind departing.
Lorna does a little formal bow. Does insight does she seem like she's squirrely? She's gonna tell other people, like she's gonna go to the Velostros directly.
Roll an insight check.
Keep it together. 22.
She's tense.
Mm-hmm.
She's clearly she's on a precipice here where
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't think she can trust you, but she also you don't think she's going to squeal.
Right. 'Cause she
She
admitted something directly to us. She messed with the wards to allow this to happen.
she looks like she feels cornered,
Mhm.
but that's to be expected.
She was. After she leaves, Lord, I imagine she said she had another appointment, so they're probably going to need this again, that she will depart as well with her group.
Okay. As you depart the Arcanical Studies classroom, you get back out onto the actual campus of the Shona Civic College.
Mm-hmm. She looks at Skolna and she says lowly in Infernal, Dean's office.
Skolna nods. And as you begin heading in the direction of administration, that is where we will call tonight's session.
Bam, 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 bam.
Well done, a successful interrogation. As we come to the end of the session, thank you for playing with me. I hope you had a good time tonight. And to those of you who are at home or at work watching, Hi, Pen. Hi, class. Hi, Emily. Hi,
Hi.
everybody else. We love you all, and I wish you a good night.